how we can propagate mango crop. Propagation. Mango can be propagated by means of seeds, right? But it is a cross-pollinated crop. It is a cross-pollinated crop. Hence, true to type characters cannot be obtained from sexual method of propagation. That means by seed. Hence, you have to go for asexual or vegetarian method of propagation to get the true to type plants, true to type characters. So, that is only by means of grafting. That is propagation on the root system of other plants. We have discussed in the practical class there are three propagations. Propagation by plant organs, propagation on the root system of the same plant, and propagation on the root system of other plants. So, grafting and budding is the third category. So, there are 8, 9, 10 numbers of different grafting methods, out of which in case of mango, approach grafting, that is also known as inner-nursing, side grafting, veneer grafting, and epicotyle grafting, out of which approach grafting is feasible, veneer grafting and epicotyle grafting. In this case, veneer grafting, epicotyle grafting, veneer grafting it is success of operation is 85% or more, epicotyle grafting more than 95% success, approach grafting more than 90%. Of course, the success of operation is depend upon the skillful hand, so that you can be a good surgeon for plant operation. Now, in case of say epicotyle graftings, these we will discuss in the practical class, and we will do some practical also. Epicotyle grafting means that is also known as or stone grafting. That is also known as stone grafting. Means the stone of the mango, that is seed is germinated. Then roots will develop and there is a development of the plumule. This is the soil surface. Now 2 to 3 days old, 2 to 3 days old newly germinated seeds, you will find the color is deep purple color, light purple to deep purple color. Purplish browning or brownish purple color, like that, not green. At that stage, the juice, that is a vigorous stage. So at that stage, you have to collect the stone from the nursery. When you collect, uproot with the help of a khurpi, then the stone will come out and the roots will also along with it, because the stone is the tightly adhering the roots and plumule. Then kept in laboratory in a suitable container. Take a tray, put some tissue papers, choke it, and place the newly germinated stone. Then you cut this portion at a height of only 3 to 4 centimeter of the stone. Either give a V-shaped cut or you can give a slanting cut. Then similar age, very tender shoots from the good variety, which is known as scion, is collected. And if it is V-shaped, then you have to cut the base portions pointed so that it will properly adjusted with the cuttings of this is the rootstock. As it is in a very vigorous state, so within 2-3 days, the new leaves will grow. 2-3 days required to healing. Then after 1 week you will find there is a development of the new leaves. And at that after operations, at that time you have to keep in the laboratory. And every day you have to add some little water, sprinkling of water, just to keep moist of the stone and the root systems. Of course, in that case, you can put some sphagnum moss. Or you can take some roots of the water hyacinth and put there, just to keep moist conditions. Then after 10, 15, 10, 12 days or maximum 15 days after the operations, you lift the grafted plants and put in the nursery or polybags for further development. Now it is ready for selling or planting. As the epicotyle portions, newly germinated shoots, scions were here, scion was inserted and you will find new growth will come. So that's why it is, this portion is collected from good variety that is known as scion, and this is the lower portions having the root system that is known as stalk. So it is the grafting is the joining of stalk and scion. Scion should be always from the good variety. In epicotyle grafting it should be similar age and size, diameter. But in case of veneer grafting or side grafting, you have to give a slanting cut and bring the one shoots of 3, 4, 5 months age and give the similar cut so that it can be inserted in the rootstock plant and new plant will grow. When the new plant will start growing, then you have to remove the earlier top portion of the stalk. Now the nutrients will be diverted from here to this and it will give rise to a new plant. So this is now the grafting methods generally followed in case of mango propagation. Now the plants which is obtained after grafting, that is known as grafted plant. Known as grafted plant. Now this grafted plant, you plant it in the field at a distance of, in traditional systems like Dusari, Langra, Bombay Green, Banesan, Kisan Bhog, Prasad Bhog, Malda, whatever it is, at 10 meter into 10 meter spacing, or rectangular system 10 meter into 8 meter spacing. But the Amrapali variety, which I mentioned you, that it is a distinctly dwarf precocity bearing at an earlier stage. Ultimately, the canopy size will be small, short spreading. Hence, instead of 10 meter into 10 meter spacing, it can be grown at 2.5 meter into 2.5 meters. In earlier, what happened? There was only 100 plants you can plant it per hectare area. But under this spacing, 1600 plants per hectare can be grown. That technology is known as, anybody who can know this new technology? কি কয়? High density planting. High density planting. That is HDP. Earlier it is low density planting, only 100 plants per hectare. Now it is increased, plant population is increased. That is 1600 plants per hectare, high density planting. But now there is a problem appears that after 15-20 years, the plant becomes dense, overlapping with each other. Hence, the variety, the spacing is now increased to 3 meter into 3 meter space. Now, for planting of the grafted plant, you have to prepare 75 cubic centimeter peat. Length is 75, breadth is 75, and depth of the peat is 75. Then the peat should be filled up with compost or FYM or rotted cow dung and topsoil. As you know, this is the ground surface, and the first 30 centimeter soil having all the nutrients, and the color of the soil is blackish, fertile soil. So that should be filled up with topsoil mixed with compost, FYM or well rotted cow dung. Then the planting is done. Planting is done during rainy season. You can start from spring season to rainy season. Now after planting, you have to go for other cultural practices, or you can say intracultural practices. First is weeding. After planting of 1 month, after planting you will find there is a growth of the weeds, and weeds always compete with the main crop for nutrients, water and space, that is in source of light. So, in the young orchards, weeds should be removed at an interval of 45 centimeters. In old orchards, it should be removed at an interval of 45 to 60 days interval, or as and when necessary. As and when necessary, when the farmers or you find that there is a fast growth of the weeds during rainy season, summer season followed by rainy season, but in northeast region, summer and rainy seasons are combined. So every after 10 days, there is a huge growth of the fast growth of the weeds. That's why it requires, you can go for 15 days interval, 20 days interval, 30 days interval according to the height and necessity of the weed densities. Then you have to go for manuring. So the first year you have planted in the pits at a particular spacing. So, and already you have applied this compost or FYM, then after 3-4 months the plant will establish and produce new leaf. Then from the second year, apply the chemical fertilizers, that is 5 kg FYM. FYM is farmyard manure. Then 75 gram nitrogen, 20 gram phosphorus, and 70 gram potash per plant per year. Per plant per year. Now third year it will be just double. Then it will be make it increasing by addition of 70, 20, 75 grams. Then at the age of 10 years of the plant, amount will be 20 to 30 kg FYM. 725 gram nitrogen, 180 gram P2O5, and 680 gram K2O per plant per year. 725 gram nitrogen, 180 gram phosphorus, and 680 gram potash. At the time the plant starts bearing. Bearing starts from 5-5 years and you will get the crop. But all plants above 20 years, the fertilizer dose is 30 to 40 kg FYM, 1000 gram nitrogen, 500 gram P2O5, 1000 gram, this is G, potash, plus 3% urea as foliar spray. In addition to this amount, you have to spray urea, 3% per plant per year, to get extra nitrogen fertilizer for more vegetative growth. Now, these fertilizers are applied, should be applied in 2 split doses. Split doses. That means make 2 equal halves. First half applied at a particular time, second half applied at another time. So the first half amount applied in the month of March, April here, because that is the flowering time. If you go in the South Indian, that is in the December, January. Then remaining amount August, September, that is after what? After harvesting. That is after harvesting of the crop. How will we apply? The fertilizer should be applied. The fertilizer should be applied ring methods. Ring methods This is the canopy of the plant, and it prepared a ring around the plant. Shallow depth ring. A shallow depth ring is prepared, has to be prepared at a distance of 1 to 2 meters. If the old plants may go up to 3 meters, because at the base it is more than 20 years, 30 years, 40 years plant. Then near 1 meter from the trunk it is completely root system. So you have to 3 meters from the trunk prepare a shallow depth ring. Then apply the mix the fertilizers and uniformly applied over the ring, then covered with the soil. That soil you have to remove at the time of ring preparations, that should be covered. Then irrigation. It is a tropical crop having a deep root system. So, in tropical climatic conditions, irrigation is not so important. But under subtropical growing conditions and in dry periods during summer and winter, then you have to go for irrigations, because mostly just before flowering and after flowering, but at the time of flowering irrigation should be stopped. If we apply water before flowering, right from November onwards, here the flowering is February, March. So by January you have to stop it. Otherwise, if you continue the irrigation system process, then what happens? Instead of reproductive phase producing more flowers, there will be produced more leaves, vegetative growth. That's why minimum 45 days before flowering, 45 to 60 days before flowering, irrigation should be stopped. And it should be applied only during dry periods at an interval of 15 to 20 days. And the method of irrigation is different. Generally, that is furrow methods is followed. Sometimes the flood method, but in case of flood method, there is a loss of more amount of water. And in area where the water is a scarcity, then you have to go for, that is, furrow methods. Next is plant protection measure. That means now the plants are growing and there is an attack of pest and disease that you have to control. So regarding the important pest, first is mango hopper. This is a sucking insect. Mango hopper is a sucking insect, sucks the cells from the green leaves, mostly the young and functional leaf. Young and functional leaf. And mostly the sucking insects carry some virus disease. After sucking, they leave the virus on the cell cells. The plant system, you will find in citrus also. So that's why to control the virus, you have to properly control the pest, because this is the only factor which carry the virus disease. Once the virus disease attack the plants, it is very, very difficult to control. Now it can be controlled by spraying of 0.15% malathion 50 EC. That is that is a liquid one. Malathion 50 EC. Emulsified concentration, or 0.1% dimethioids, that is Roger, or 0.2% Sabin. You have to spray. But no chemicals is allowed to spray at the time of flowering, not only in mango, in all crops, because that chemicals may, if you apply during the time of flowering, cause the pollen grain infertile, egg cell infertile, and there is a formation of aborted seeds. So that's why the chemicals should not be applied at the time of flowering in any crops. Then another pest, mealybug, white color. This is also a important pest. Now it becomes a very serious pest in case of papaya. Then it attacks the rose, China rose, brinjal, tomato, even other ornamental plants also. So it also sucks the cells mostly from the young twigs or from the petiole of the leaf. Then it can be controlled by 0.1% Roger or 0.05% Novacron solution. The next is bark-eating caterpillar. Let's finish the page today. Bark-eating caterpillar. So here you will find bark means it is the phloem tissue. So the caterpillars, they most damage the bark of the shoots, especially the young shoots. Ultimately, the phloem tissue is completely damaged. So that the other portion of the stem will not get the photosynthesis, or there is no movement of the plant growth regulators. As a result, there is no further growth. Ultimately, these shoots will be dried up gradually. So hence, the affected portion should be cleaned properly. The affected portion should be cleaned properly and washed with, give a washing with kerosene oil or petrol. Now petrol is costly, so you can go for kerosene oil. Take a piece of cloth, cotton cloth, soak in kerosene oil and wash on the affected portions after cleaning. Then another important pest is fruit fly, and those who have the habit of taking the immature fruits, ripened fruits directly from the plant without from pulses. Then you will find, when you cut it, then you will find some insect is in the adult form. They are coming out, damaging the inner pulp portions. That is what happened. This is a fruit. During the fruit development stage, mostly olive size stage, যেতিয়া জলফাইটো সমান হ'ব আমটো, olive size stage, the adult fruit fly lay eggs. punch the peel and lay eggs. Then egg hatches. The numbers of caterpillars, white caterpillars, produce. And then they start feeding off the pulp without damaging the seeds. They make tunnel and damaging the pulp because pulp is the food for the caterpillars. Then at a time they take rest, go into pupa form, take rest and again come into adult form as fruit fly, and when you cut at the maturity stage, when you cut it, then you will get the seeds. I mean adult insect. So that can be controlled by spraying with 0.1% Roger or 0.15% malathion mixed to it 0.2% molasses. Here molasses is good. Molasses is a sticking agent, adhering agent, because when you apply water in the immature fruits, there will be no adhering of the water because there is a waxy layer on the fruits peel. Hence, the molasses is given just there is a coating of the insecticides on the surface of the fruits. So when the fruit fly, adult fruit fly will come, try to punch the peel for laying eggs, then they will unable and go away from that particular fruits and ultimately from the mango orchards. And another is, last one, stone weevil. Stone weevil. The adult of the stone weevil, same methods. They lay eggs by punching the peel and the egg hatches. The caterpillars make tunnels, damaging the pulp, and they attack the seeds. They feed only the immature seeds. That means the stone portion is damaged, that's why it is known as stone weevil, and the control measure is same. If you are going for control of fruit fly, the same chemicals may control the stem weevil. But the attack of fruit fly and stem weevil what it will find at olive fruit stage, যেতিয়া আমটো সৰু হৈ থাকে, কেঁচা হৈ থাকে, আমি পিকলছৰ কাৰণে চাটনি বনাবৰ কাৰণে যে will find there is a group shedding of fruits. Then you cut it, then you will find the seeds are not, generally the immature seeds are white color, crisp in nature, but it is brownish, blackish color and shrinkage. And you will find there is a damage. That is due to stone weevil attack. That's why you have to go for, if there is no attack of fruit fly, even then, to make sure that the plant or garden is free from fruit fly, you have to go for one prophylactic measure of 0.1% spray of Roger mixed with molasses. Right? Then you can control. And mostly in neglected orchards, all orchards, there is an attack of fruit fly and stone weevil. And most commonly, the problem is the fruit fly. And you see, if there is an attack of the fruit fly, sometimes the earlier parts, when the fruit fly attack, then during its growth period, the peel is the hole which is due to the punching of the peel, the laying eggs at the time laying, that will be gradually heal up. And sometimes you will find there is a small hole. When the adults ready here try to come out from the fruits, then make some hole and go out. Sometimes you will find you cut it, there is a damage of the pulp, but there is no insect, because in the meantime the insect is away from the fruits. That's why you have to go for proper control of the fruit fly.